All right, picture this. The power grid has just completely collapsed. It's the middle of a polar vortex. There was no warning, no backup plan, just that sudden, dead silence as your furnace cuts out and the lights go dark for good.
You know, that's not from some disaster movie. That is the cold, hard reality of what happens when the grid goes down in the dead of winter. The threat isn't some far-off problem. It's right here, right now. But look, you don't need some fancy high-tech bunker to get through this. You just need a solid plan, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to walk through exactly how you can take this crisis and turn it into a totally manageable situation just by using a little science, some common sense, and believe it or not, the stuff you probably already have in your home. So first things first, we've got to understand what we're really up against. Because it's not just about not having electricity. It's about how that one single failure kicks off this whole cascade of really life-threatening problems. And that right there is the key. The home you think of as your comfortable shelter, it pretty much instantly becomes your enemy, a walk-in freezer that's just leaking heat like crazy. And in these situations, every single winter, the biggest killer isn't the cold itself. It's the mistakes people make. Well-intentioned but absolutely fatal errors they make trying to stay warm. Okay, this slide right here is maybe the most important rule of all. You never, ever use unvented combustion appliances indoors. I'm talking about a gas stove, a generator running in the garage, a charcoal grill. These things are not heaters. They are silent killers. They pump out carbon monoxide. It's odorless, it's colorless, and it can be lethal in just minutes. So how do you fight the cold safely? Well, you build a fort. It's all about creating a small, defensible thermal shelter inside your much larger, colder home. And it's about insulating your body, because you are the primary furnace. Listen, you are not trying to heat your entire house. That's just a fantasy. Forget it. What you're going to do is pick one small room, a bathroom, a walk-in closet, maybe a small bedroom. The smaller the better, because small spaces trap heat way more efficiently. Then you seal every single crack. Shove towels under the door, tape garbage bags over the windows. I know it's not going to look pretty, but it works. You know, understanding how you lose heat is the secret to stopping it. You're actually fighting 4 enemies at the same time. There's conduction, which is heat loss from touching cold surfaces, convection from cold drafts, radiation, which is just heat literally leaving your body, and evaporation from any moisture on your skin. To survive, you have to defeat all 4.
So this is how you build up your personal defense. Every layer you put on is a weapon against a specific type of heat loss. That base layer, it wicks away sweat to fight evaporation. Your middle layer of fleece or wool traps air to fight convection. And that outer layer, like a big blanket or sleeping bag, stops your body heat from radiating away. And please, don't forget a hat. You lose a massive amount of heat through your head. Now let's talk about adding extra heat. The safest, most reliable source is you. Huddle up with your family, your pets, all under a big pile of blankets. Every single person is a walking, talking 98.6-degree heater. Now, if you prepared ahead of time, an indoor rated heater is a great option, as long as you crack a window for ventilation. But honestly, even something as simple as a few hot water bottles tucked into your sleeping bag can be a total game changer. Okay, so we've got warmth handled. Next on the list, water. See, a power outage doesn't just make your house cold. It puts your entire plumbing system on a countdown to absolute catastrophe. The science here is simple and it is brutal. When water freezes, it expands. A metal pipe can't stretch, so it just bursts. And the worst part is, you won't even know it happened until everything thaws and your house starts flooding. So to prevent this nightmare, you have to act immediately. Go to every single faucet in your house, kitchen, bathrooms, everywhere, and turn them onto a slow drip. Moving water is much, much harder to freeze. Then find any exposed pipes you can, like in the basement, and wrap them with towels, old clothes, anything you can find to just slow the cold down. But what about drinking water after the city water pressure gives out? Well, you might be surprised to learn you're probably sitting on a huge reserve. Your hot water heater is holding anywhere from 40 to 60 gallons of perfectly safe, drinkable water. That is your single most important emergency water source. So here's your water strategy. Tapping that hot water heater is priority number 1. But the second the power goes out while you still have pressure, fill up your bathtubs, your sinks, any pots and pans. And here's a really critical tip. If you have to melt snow, do it outside. If you melt it inside, you add a ton of cold moisture to the air, which will actually make you feel even colder. All right, you've got shelter, you've got warmth, and you've got water.
Now we need fuel. Fuel for your body, light for your eyes, and information for your mind. This is all about managing your resources for the long haul. That clock starts ticking on your perishable food the second the power dies. So, rule number 1, keep those doors shut. A full freezer will buy you about 48 hours. A half-full one, you've only got about 24. And your fridge is basically just an insulated box now, so you've got maybe a day, tops. So you've got to prioritize. Eat from the fridge first, then move on to the freezer. And hey, here's a pro tip. If it's below freezing outside, your backyard is now your new freezer. Just move your frozen food into a cooler and stick it outdoors. After that, you're on to the pantry supplies. And don't forget, your body is a furnace working overtime to stay warm. You have to feed it high-calorie fuel.
Darkness can be dangerous and demoralizing, but you can make a simple lamp out of basic kitchen supplies. Just grab a jar, pour in some cooking oil, and use a strip from a cotton t-shirt for a wick. It's ancient technology, really. It just uses capillary action to draw the oil up to the flame. And it'll burn for hours.
With cell towers likely down, a hand crank radio is your absolute best link to what's going on in the outside world. Conserve your phone battery for true emergencies. But the most important communication tool you have is your own voice. Go check on your neighbors. In a real grid-down scenario, your community is everything. So let's bring this all together. You sealed your room, you layered your clothes, you secured your water supply, and you managed your resources. You've basically transformed yourself from a potential victim of these circumstances into the victor. And then it happens. A light flickers. You hear that low hum of the grid coming back. And that moment the furnace finally kicks back on, that's the moment you know your plan worked. The dripping faucets, the sealed-off room, the layers of clothes, every single one of those things mattered. You didn't just survive, you won. And that's really what this all boils down to. Survival in a situation like this isn't about having a bunch of expensive gear or some prepper fantasy. It's about knowledge. It's about understanding the threats and then applying a simple, effective plan using what you already have around you. Look, the systems that we all rely on every single day, they're fragile. They can fail. But with the right knowledge, you don't have to. You have the plan now. So the only real question left is, will you be ready to use it?